Before we get into the meta forecast for Richmond, I want to let you know that I have a website, www.seagrovetcg.com. It's just there as a resource. I'm collecting cup data so that you can see in previous cups with the same amount of players or a similar amount of players to maybe one you're at, how many points bubbled it were needed to make cut, how many people at that score bubbled in, etc., etc. So it should be useful. Also, beneath that, there is a place where you can see where people voted on matchup data, and I'm hopefully by the time this is live, you'll be able to vote on expanded as well. So there's little tabs at the top. If you're on a phone, there's a hamburger menu for it. But go ahead and head over to, I'll put it in the description, seagrovetcg.com, and vote on expanded. You can do it before this video, you can do it after this video. You can't do it both. You can only vote once per week, basically. So enjoy the video and good luck in Richmond. Hey, this is Seagrove. We're here for the Meta Forecast, the Michael Forecast. 3 Michaels and myself. Thank you guys for your time. This is awesome. Thanks for doing this. Why don't you go around and introduce yourselves real quick for anyone who doesn't know, and maybe a sponsor or a shout out as well. Brian, why don't you start?
Sure. Michael Premwat. I guess I'm best known for winning 7 U.S. regionals. I've also won an IC before, so that's pretty cool. And I play for Full Grip. You can check them out if you need cards. And I'm also sponsored by TC Evolution. So if you need damage counters, like they have the best Pokemon accessories. So check them out.
Katron.
I'm Michael Katron. I play for Nerd Rage Gaming, and I write for Someone's PC. I'm just known for playing a lot of weird stuff, but I've been taking this season a little bit more seriously.
Cool. Fouché.
First of all, I'd have to say, Prem, I think you're best known for your 2010 World
Please.
Idols look. That's what I would
I'm trying to like throw that under the
rug. But yeah, so my name is Mike Fouché. I've been playing for a long time. Wrote for Six Prizes for a long time, did their podcast, but I didn't really play very much last year, so kind of just getting back into the swing of things this season. Yeah.
Cool. And Mikey, I can totally hear you, but you are a little bit quiet. If you have a way to get closer to your mic or something.
All right, I will.
Oh, that's much better. All right. But we got that for sure. So we're obviously prepping for Richmond. I'm pretty excited. First expanded regional in quite some time. A lot of decks have a lot of hype, but before we get into the new stuff, let's look back. So last expanded regional was actually won by Jose Marrero with Rayquaza, and Trevenant got second place. If we're just going to go around, no defending it, just give your answer. If the regional were tomorrow and you were forced to play Rayquaza or Trevenant, which one would you play? Fouché.
Trevenant.
Katron.
Rayquaza.
Rayquaza.
Okay. I'm like about to say Michael for every single one of you. That just frees up. Okay. So I would have said Rayquaza. I no, I'm lying. I would play Trev just because I've got good experiences on it. But like, I would have thought like all 3 of you would have said Rayquaza would be the go-to. Mikey, why'd you say Trev?
I would play Trev because it can win games it's not supposed to win, and Rayquaza seems I mean, both decks seem really bad. Let me just start off with that. Okay. But Rayquaza seems also just Rayquaza just seems like way worse than Pikarom or Darkrai, while Trevenant actually has like its own unique thing going on.
Okay, awesome. So Pram and Katron, y'all both said Rayquaza. Would either of you actually like defend it as a solid pick for the tournament?
No.
I mean, it's okay. I don't think it's like as bad as like they're making it out to be, but like it's not good.
Yeah.
I think it's like, so expanded is just kind of like you can just play whatever you want right now.
That's true. That is true.
So the next deck we saw was the third place was Shocklock. Is Shocklock the best control deck? Yes or no? That's all. Just yes or no question. Is Shocklock the best control deck? Katron.
No.
Pram.
No.
Fouché.
No.
All right. What's the best control deck?
Zora Control would be my pick.
Okay. What's good about Zora Control? Or what's Zora Control look like? Is it pretty similar to what we saw in AIC a few years ago, a couple years ago?
I mean, I think it's similar to it. Like in theory, like the end game combo is very similar to the Pidgeotto deck, or at least that's one route that it can take. I think it has a lot more options than the Pidgeotto deck does, but I think it's like the Zora Control kind of did well. I feel like Isaiah's always done well with Zora Control and expanded, so the list kind of looks something like that. Like you run Articuno, you run Oranguru, you run a bunch of the degenerate supporters and whatnot. I haven't played it too much, but it seems like the strongest control deck to me. But I think Katron maybe has played around with it a little bit more.
Yeah. Katron, I think I saw a tweet of yours. By the way, everyone's Twitter handles right below them. Follow on Twitter. Saying that Sable Garb is trash, Zora Control is awesome, or something to that effect. Talk to us about that.
Well, Sable's not trash, it's just worse than Zora Control, I think. But, Zora Control, just like Fouché said, it's basically just expanded Pidgey, except for your deck's a lot more consistent and trades a lot better than whatever, Airmail, I think it's called. And, like, so you have that going for you. You get access to DCE, which gives you an actual attacker in your deck too. So say your opponent has something like an Octillery on their bench, you can Guzma kill it and then go into your hand lock combo. Your deck just has so many better pieces that Pidgey doesn't have, and it's really hard for almost any deck in the format to deal with it.
Okay. Do you feel more comfortable playing? How do I say this? Less broad-reaching techs. In other words, like, do you feel more comfortable playing techs that are really good against certain decks, but not great against the general field if you're playing Zoroark because of the trade ability? Compared to Pidgey.
I think that's fine. Yeah, Zoroark. The deck doesn't have a whole lot of space in it, so you have to kind of like choose your techs pretty wisely. Since you have to have your full hand lock combo, you have to have Articuno or way to discard their energies, and like you just have to tech for what you expect you're going to hit. Like if you tech for Archies if you think that's going to be big.
Okay. So is Zora Control the best control deck?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Pram, is Zora Control the best control deck?
Yeah, and it's like not close.
Okay. What other control decks are there?
I mean, there's like Sableye, which kind of sucks. I mean, like, it's like relative, right? So it's like the deck itself, because it's expanded, it still functions, right? But compared to like Zora Control, it's just like not good. Shocklock is just not good compared to Zora Control.
Why is Shocklock not good after it did so well?
So there's a couple of reasons. One of them is there's a lot of decks that are just better now, right? So like Blastoise is better.
Better than the previous version of themselves.
Well, yeah, because like it can shut down Shocklock before it like can do anything.
Right.
Hood, like the inclusion of hoods in decks, shut down Raichu.
Yeah.
So there's just like a lot of like natural things that are starting to work against Shocklock. That's not to say it didn't get some cards, it did, but like not enough. And then Zora Control is just the strategy is just too overwhelming to like not like you can beat Zora Control, but like at any point Zora Control can just win.
Okay.
So there is. I would also say that the other kind of control-ish deck in the format is the Mewtwo Honchkrow Handlock deck. It functions a little bit different than Sableye or Zora Control does because those decks both try to lock you late in the game after you've taken a bunch of prizes, but the Honchkrow deck just tries to lock you on like turn 1 or turn 2. And I think it's also pretty good. It's not like amazing, but it's a pretty strong deck, I think.
Why is it not amazing?
So if it goes, regardless if it goes first or second, if it's playing against a deck like Darkrai or Archie's, they can, if they have a very explosive first turn, which they do, you know, somewhere around 50 to 60% of the time, maybe more than that, they can just like set up way too many energy on the board and have a board state that it really doesn't matter what your hand looks like. The Mewtwo deck can still beat those decks if they don't have the explosive first turn, but if they do, it's very, very, very hard to win those games.
Is the Mewtwo deck playing a Silent Lab?
No, because
obviously not, because they're playing Mewtwo, right? Okay, so like Oranguru would be a one-up tech for that if you're for some reason worried about it. Okay,
correct. Yeah, you like Night March I think has a pretty good matchup against the deck because it naturally wants to play Oranguru, and so yeah, other decks could also play Oranguru as well.
Okay, awesome, cool. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. So the next thing I wanted to ask about is the 4th place deck from that tournament was Zorogarb. Is Zorogarb the best Zoroark variant for this tournament? Yes or no, Pram?
No, probably Zoroark Control is the best Zoroark variant.
Okay.
Maybe, I mean, like, if you're talking like as attacking Zoroark, I guess like it's okay, but
no, that's a different card.
But no, I mean, like, you know what I meant, like attacking, like if you're trying to like take prizes.
Oh, attacking! I thought you said tag team, like Zoroark and Ninja. Okay.
No, yeah. If you're trying to like attack with Zoroark, then like there are better routes. Like there are like better decks to attack with.
Okay. Like what?
Turbo Dark is really good. Pika is
okay.
really good.
Yeah.
I mean, even Rayquaza is like pretty decent at attacking.
Yeah.
So like if your goal is to take 6 prizes, there are like better routes to do it. And like these decks are so consistent that like the trade ability isn't like that huge of a increase to your consistency. So I think like Zoroark Control is like maybe the exclusive like viable Zoroark build.
Okay. Fouché, do you think Zoroark Control is better than Zorogarb?
I mean, they're very different decks. If you want to play an attacking Zoroark deck, I think Zorogarb's probably the way to go. It can function, like there's moments where it can feel like a control deck, right? When you Garbotox and end them late in the game. A lot of lists have started to run Surge to kind of do some interesting things, but it's still usually to be offensive. So I think Zorogarb is fine. I don't love it, but I think it's a very 50-50 deck to bring to the event. There's no matchups where you feel like you can't win, and in a format with lots and lots of decks, that's somewhat appealing, but there's also no matchup where you go into it and you're like, I am a huge favorite here.
Right. Cool. And Katron, I'm guessing you agree that Zoroark Control is better?
Yeah, I think Zoroark Control's definitely better. Okay. I think Zorogarb is really good. I'm probably going to play Zorogarb for the event.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I've been testing it a lot. I played at the Cups this weekend. It did well. I think it's just as strong. I think with the right techs, like with Surge and stuff, you definitely can keep up with like the tag team decks and attacking.
Yeah. Speaking of what we've been playing at Cups, Premawat, we saw you play the Pika. I don't remember what it's called.
Pikarom?
Pikarom, thank you. I was about to call it Pika Zika. I was like, Zeka. I don't know. Okay, Pikarom.
Yeah.
Is this real life? Like, why is this good?
Why is it bad? It does like you accelerate a ton of energy. You do a ton of damage. Like you can tag bolt's really good. Tandem shock's really good.
So is it
like,
pretty easy?
Oko GX is really good. Like
what was the last
Oko? What's bad about it?
Yeah. What's Tandem Shot?
That's Raichu's attack. It does 160 paralyze. You also get Lightning Ride, which does for 5 energy, does 250, and then you get to retreat.
Okay. And so with you're playing choice bands in there, take?
Yeah, choice bands, E-power.
So
like you just hit like really big numbers, and then you accelerate. Like you turn on full blitz like almost every game.
Is it your one of your top picks for the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I think the deck's really good.
Okay, you think it's tier 1?
Yeah, I think it might be the best attacking deck. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I have to like dig in more, but it's really good.
Okay. Fouchier or Katron, anything to add on Pikarom?
I haven't played it too much myself. I'm not like super into the aggressive tag team attacking decks. That said, I have been a little bit confused why Pikarom hasn't been getting like attention while Darkrai has, because it seems just as good, if not better, than Darkrai. Yeah, I don't know. It seems strong.
Katron, anything to add?
No, I don't ever touch with Pikarom. I hate Pikarom.
All right, fair. Are there any other big tag teams that could see play? Like, I took Charizard to a challenge. I think the concept's okay. My list was pretty trash. I won the challenge, but like, it had some real issues. But I guess Pikarom, Zoroark, whatever it is.
Yeah, Zoroark Greninja.
Thank you. Zoroark Greninja, and
Deoxys
obviously
is
Mew Mew. Oh, and Espeon Deoxys is seeing like, it's not being played by itself outside of Mew Mew, is it?
No, it's like a tech.
Yeah. Okay, so are those the 3 big ones? Are there any other serious tag teams we need to be looking out for?
I think that's it. Like,
there could be, in theory, there could be a Reshizard deck, but it seems much weaker than Pikarom.
Seems like a worse
Darkrai.
Pikarom, right?
yeah, like maybe Guardian, but
Oh yeah, Guardian.
I
Guardian's
tested
got
a little
some. Go ahead.
I tested a little bit with Guardian Aromatisse, and it felt way too fair.
yeah, it's like not trying to do any cheesy stuff. Like, it's cheesy thing is like I put a tool on, but like everyone's like, well, there's Field Blower in the format. Like, what?
Yeah. Okay, cool. Hitmonwall was the last deck in the top 8 of the last expanded regional. Does that have any place in standard at this point? I mean, it should be good against Pikarom, should be good against Dark Box, it should be good against Zoroark, maybe even Archie's. Is that a good deck?
No.
Why is it not a good deck?
I don't think it can beat Mew Mew. I think with Archie's, now that Archie's has Hood, that becomes a very bad matchup. Because they can just go in, even with attacking with Blastoise or attacking with Volcanion Prism Star, you just can't do anything to that. And I don't think it really, Pikarom and Turbo Dark are both probably favorable, but they're not like auto wins, I don't think.
Yeah. Okay.
And like Zoroark is like it might even be unfavored for Hitmonchan. It's like it's fine, but it's like the one thing it has going for it is starting Wobbuffet is really good versus a lot of decks.
Yeah.
But if you don't start Wobbuffet, then you're probably gonna lose against most things. Its damage output is like really weak.
its control matchup is bad too.
Yeah. You can never ever beat a control deck with that.
Even a Zoroark?
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Okay.
No.
It just doesn't matter.
It's like 100-0.
They just
Yeah, like
okay,
you take one prize and then they're like, all right, countercatcher, trade,
okay.
Faba, and resource.
Okay. So I want to talk about. I went to a League Cup this weekend, and the top 4. It was tiny, first of all. So yeah, but then we had a really weird top 4. The top 4 was Toad Garb, Mega Ray, Night March, and Baby Buzzwole Garbodor. If you had to pick one of those to play at the tournament, I'll go through them again. Mega Ray, Toad Garb, Night March, and Baby Buzz Garbodor. Which one would you play and why? Fouché, you start.
Night March, and it's not even close. I think Night March is not a it's not like my number one play, but it's probably my top three. You get to play Power Plant now, which is really good, and you can play Power Plant and Let Loose, which I think is just a really strong combo early game. You have a lot of game versus the tag team decks because it's pretty easy to hit one shots, and I mean Night March has just always been fairly consistent, so seems like not a bad deck.
Okay. Katron, what would you pick?
I'd probably also go with Night March. The other decks seem pretty bad. Like Night March is strong. It's a single price deck. It's very consistent most of the time, unless you draw a hand that's like 4 lamp heads and a bunch of garbage. And I mean, you get Electro Power. You can hit big knockouts now, so seems fine.
Is Night March playing Electro Power?
Yeah.
Okay. And Pram, I guess you're gonna say the same.
There's no chance I'm not playing Night March.
Awesome. So the one that interests me the most was definitely Toad Garb. It felt pretty strong. I ended up tying it, but I think when I played it, but I think my opponent could have seen something and played a little bit differently and won it. But what are your thoughts on Toad Garb going in? Pram, why don't you start?
Its damage output is very low.
It is.
And it sounds like it didn't go up against any tag teams, so that's why it was like fine, because it's still playing like old format expanded. But if it ever runs into like Pika or even just Azor Greninja, like the Turbo Dark, it's real sketch. If it runs into like anything like meta, it has a lot of problems.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mikey.
Yeah, I agree. I've tried like a couple different Toad decks. I tried Toad Garb a little bit. I tried Toad Zoroark, and they're pretty good against decks that don't play Pokemon that have 260 HP. But if you play against a deck that has a Pokemon that's that big, you're gonna really struggle to take knockouts. And those decks also play energy acceleration, so it's like a double whammy in those matchups. Right. You're dealing with huge HP that also accelerates energy, and your whole game plan is to like grind them down and discard energy, and it's not gonna happen.
Katron, anything to add to that?
I don't know. I've been testing a bit of Toad. Jonathan really likes it. I think Toad's been power crept out of the format, which is kind of weird to say considering how good the card's been pretty much the whole time it's been legal. But it just you can't deal with 300 HP. You can't do it.
Right. So Archie Stories has been sort of hailed as the BDIF. Agree or disagree, Katron?
Disagree.
Fouché.
Disagree. I don't think you can call any deck the BDIF. So I would say disagree to anything you said.
Okay. Pram.
Yeah, I disagree. I think it's tier 1, but I don't know. I don't think it's the best.
Okay. Katron, you gave me the solid disagree. Hit me with why it's not.
Archie's is pretty. It can be inconsistent. Most decks have some way to deal with it. When you set up, like sometimes you just win games. You get off a turn 1 cross divide and the game's over. But that doesn't work in every matchup. If say like Turbo Dark just draws insane, you're probably not gonna win. They trade better than you do.
Yeah. So Fouché and Pram and Katron, get back in on this same question, I guess, because it's pretty different. If Archie's isn't the clear BDIF, but it's tier 1 among other things, what other decks are tier 1? I mean, obviously, I'm not asking you to show anything you have hidden, but like, what should people expect as tier 1?
Turbo Dark.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah.
Why Turbo Dark? Is Turbo Dark better than Archie's, or are they just pretty even?
I think it's pretty even. Like, so you have a lot of ways to deal with Mewtwo as Turbo Dark. You can just hit them for 270, which is nice. You have Dead End GX, which is really good. And then like you just hit really hard, really fast. you can run MuFCO, which deals with Mewtwo. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like Blastoise is like Mewtwo is like a format defining card, but like there are definitely ways to deal with it.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, so Archie's Darkrai. I think the Mewtwo Toolbox deck is also tier 1.
Okay.
And probably Zoro Control. Those would probably be my 4 tier 1 decks.
Zoro Control is what again? I mean, sorry, Zoro Mewtwo box.
So we haven't really talked about it, but it's
Yeah.
basically Mewtwo with Mega Guardi and Noivern GX as kind of your 2 main attackers, and you play a whole bunch of other things. I don't think there's like a defined 60 cards that is accepted right now, but you play a bunch of Distortion Door Giratinas to ping and get them back with get them back, and then you discard them with Despair Ray. You run Alolan Marowak GX to kill little basics going second. You play most of those play Greninja GX, so you get through like Jolteon EX and things like that. I played a Necrozma GX for Black Ray this past weekend, and I thought that was really strong. There's a bunch of other things that you can play. You played Jirachi GX for the weakness, so against other Mewtwo decks like Blastoise, you have the ability to kind of control when Jirachi's on the board, which makes it good in kind of those Mewtwo-esque mirrors. So for that reason, I think the deck is solidly favored against Archie's. So yeah, so it kind of functions how the Mewtwo Toolbox deck in Standard works. You just have other options. Noivern GX is really, really powerful, and all 3 of its attacks are very, very good.
Mm-hmm. How good is Plant? I feel like Plant Stamp or Plant N should be really strong in this format. A lot of Mewtwo, good amount of Zoroark. Yeah, is there a deck that uses that well?
Night March. Night March can use Plant and Let Loose and N very well.
Yeah.
Other than that, Zoro Control even plays Plant, so they can handlock you after they do it.
Nice.
Like the Buzzgarb and Hitmonchan decks can run Plant, but they're also not that strong after the fact. I think Night March is Night March is really good because it can also hit you really hard after it slows you down with Plant.
Yeah, Night March is like the clear winner for Plant Stamp or Plant N. Pika can kind of do it. It's like in the deck. You can just kind of do it, but it's like not like a strategy. You just kind of throw it in there.
I was gonna ask you, Prem, if you played Power Plant in your Pika.
Yeah, I mean, like you just do it like after like a Pika gets killed, so you're just like, all right, Plant N, full blitz, let's go, or whatever.
There was some murmuring about Mewtwo with Vileplume. Is that a thing? Is it any good?
It's a thing.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that good. Like you have to like dedicate an entire turn to set up Vileplume because you do it through Alolan Executor Relic, and then like first off you have to like not discard a Gloom and or prize one and then accidentally discard one before you like find out that like the other one was prized. And if that happens, you just or you just randomly draw it, right? Like so like if that happens, then like you're not getting Vileplume out and you lost the game.
Right.
Because your deck is like not good without item lock. And then if you do get it out, then the Vileplume could get Guzma'd and get knocked out, and then you are still behind because your deck is dedicated so many cards to trying to get this Vileplume out that like your deck is not that good. And then even if you do all this, you can still get ran over by someone just doing like 270.
Right.
So if you want to item lock with Mewtwo, I think Noivern is the better way to go. That deck has way more options. and you get to play really good cards in your deck and not a bunch of bad cards.
Cool. Sounds better. So what is the obviously, again, never asking for you to show a hand or anything, but what's the best deck we haven't talked about so far? Katron.
Nothing really comes to mind.
I was fully expecting you to just go right into Malamar and expand it.
Dude, I did test expanded Malamar. It's pretty fun.
Fun and good are different, though, eh?
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
So you feel like we covered our bases there, Katron?
Yeah, I think so.
Pram.
Yeah, I don't really. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Like most of the things I've been seeing people play is like Turbo Dark. I guess I'm the only one playing Pika. Blastoise, Control. Like even like I've seen like the Eggs deck, and that's, I can't think of any like different deck that we haven't talked about.
Okay.
I got a couple. I don't think any of them are particularly good, but I've seen some people talk about them. So first one is like Zork Raticate, which tries to trade with the tag teams by using lasers. I don't personally think that's a real deck, but it might show up. And the other one is not the Mew Plume, but just kind of straight Vileplume Rowlet Executor, which I think is a better. If you want to play Vileplume, I think that's better than Mew Plume, because you get like Rowlet Executor is not a bad attacker when you're item locking them. It's doing 150, it's healing, and you get to play both Vileplumes then, so you can play the basic Vileplume. You just play a much thicker Vileplume line. So that deck seems okay to me. I probably wouldn't play it, but it seems okay.
Cool. So my last question then is, what is the best deck that you will definitely not play come Richmond? Fouché.
I think Dark. I definitely won't play Dark, but I think it's very strong.
Okay. Katron.
Pikarom. Will not play Pikarom.
Great. Pram.
I probably won't play Turbo Dark just because I think Pikarom. If I'm going to play an attacking deck, I think Pikarom is better. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. I think we already did shout outs at the beginning. Mikey, go ahead.
I got one more deck that I have been working on. May play it this next weekend.
Okay.
It's Expanded Beheeyem.
Okay.
It's not bad. Item lock is still very strong.
Yeah.
And you get the kind of the Aselgor effect, and you have much better Pokemon to bop into in Expanded. Bopping into Wobbuffet's good. Bopping into Hoopa is good.
Which Hoopa?
It's okay.
The
Shining Legends
no
one.
GX.
So the deck is okay. It's at least playable. So if anybody really wants to give that a shot, try it.
All right, awesome. All right, well, I think that's it. We did shout outs earlier, so appreciate you guys coming on again. Again, you can follow everybody on Twitter. If you have this alt tabbed, you just listen to it. You can see their handles here. And good luck in Richmond, everybody. Peace.